Okay.
Well, when kids started wearing long hair, I told Jim that when he went off to college, I said his allowance was going to be inversely proportional to the length of his hair. And he said one of the most embarrassing things that happened, we were living in Connecticut. And we lived in New York City for a while, and we moved to Connecticut and bought this timeshare. And Jim came to see us one Christmas. And when he got on the plane, he had on his cowboy hat and boots and all sitting next to a man. And then when about an hour, 30 minutes before it arrived in New York, he got up, went to the men's room, put on a wig with long hair and some old beat up clothes. And when he got off the plane, Martha and I were standing there waiting for him. He gave me the peace sign, and I didn't even recognize him. But everybody, they didn't even notice him when he was dressed like that. But when he put on his cowboy hat and his boots, they thought it was real peculiar. But as far as being embarrassed by Kay and Jim, I never was. I don't think they ever did anything. Some things were funny, but I never regretted anything they ever did. And I've seen so many people that have had so many problems with their children, and I just haven't.
Now, what's the proudest you've been of them?
Well, the proudest I've been of Kay, I guess, and is realizing that she is so fluent in the Chinese language. She is teaching Chinese to the new missionaries, and she's written a book on how to learn Chinese. And her husband Jim was elected the outstanding teacher of that whole area of that part of the world, and he got beat out by the world champion, but he was close to being the best teacher. They're a real good couple. And as far as Jim, there are very few. I'm proud of him. Maybe it's not something to be proud of, but I worked hard during my life, and I was on call 7 days a week, and I had some real tough experiences. But I don't know of anybody that works any harder than he does. He does. He really works hard. And I told him that. I told him when you and Jim were working for him, I said, they're not going to work for you their whole career. I said they're going. Son does not like to work for his father because it'll always be sunny. And
do you think he would ever retire, since he's so devoted to working every day?
well, I don't think he'll ever retire until he gets sick. I worry about him being overweight, though.
Yeah. Well, I guess you've seen from when you were young, and most people were thin, and then just see the obesity epidemic just over the past 30 years.
Yeah.
How people have become so fat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just out of control.
Well, I think one of the causes for it is drinking Coca-Colas
Sure.
with all this sugar in it, and all the other soft drinks.
Yep.
And there are so many sugar items, and sugar is a terrible thing.
Well, and the corn syrup, it's not even real sugar anymore. It's that corn syrup that's even worse for you that's
Yeah.
in on it. When you were overseas and you told people you were from Texas, did they just think everybody in Texas was a cowboy and rode around on horses all the time? I mean, I know when I've been to other places that you tell me from Texas and they have this idea that everybody's
Well,
on a ranch.
I'll tell you a story about that. Martha and I were taking a vacation. We started in Sicily, and we came up through Italy, and we were on the train going in from Italy into France, and there was a woman there with all these bags, and the porter wasn't helping them. No Frenchman would all of them were sitting there, and Italians, no one helped her. And I went up and got her bags for her and helped her off the train. And she got off the train where she was going, she started crying and said, "You must be from Texas."
Well, that's a good reputation. Was Sicily one of the most beautiful places you've ever been to?
No, I don't think so, but it was a very interesting place. Sicily is a very, it's a very unique type of country, and it's like, well, and then you've seen the movie Patton, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
And where those people liked the Americans, even though they were supposed to be their enemy.
So what was the most beautiful place?
The most beautiful place I've ever been, I would say, was I'd say Baguio in the Philippines. And the reason it was about 5,000 feet, and the temperature never got below 60, and it never got above 85. Just a perfect climate, and that was a beautiful area. And they had a rest area there during World War II where if you've been in combat, you could go there and rest. And my battalion commander was in World War I. He was really experienced and he knew that area. And when we landed in Luzon, he sent we had to pick out a place for our howitzers to go through the mountains. And he sent somebody to Luzon and said, "Get one of those villas and rent it for our battalion." And we did. We rented it, and it's a beautiful villa, large villa. And later on, it was right in the middle of a rest area that the Army had. And they were really hacked off that we had that villa.
Was it ornate and luxurious?
Yes, it was. It was very nice. 'Cause this is where the wealthy people would go in the summertime out of Manila and all. I guess the second most beautiful place is Switzerland.
Switzerland? What was beautiful there? Just the Alps?
The mountains and the lakes.
And everything was clean?
Everything was clean. And they have the solution to the pollution problem in cars too. They have those street cars, you know, and everybody goes in public transportation. You haven't got all the traffic problems. And it's on the honor system. You just get on and you buy your ticket when you at the to stop, and you get on, but you can get on and off without even paying.
Hmm.
Do you think their citizens are more honorable than overall?
Evidently.
So their crime must be a lot lower too. So in 9 decades of living and seeing all the things that the presidents have done, right and wrong, can you think of any just core ideals or conservative values that you think work, and things that you've seen that don't work, or presidents that you've seen fail, you couldn't wait until they would get out because they were pushing the country in the wrong direction?
Well, you know, one of the people that I had my doubts about when he went in was Truman, and he turned out to be one of our best presidents. He had a lot of guts, and bombing setting those atomic bombs off.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition, I liked the way he defended his family. I don't know whether you remember.
Did he have a daughter, Margaret?
Yeah,
I know she played a recital somewhere.
Yeah.
I know that.
he really defended his family.
But what it meant to be a Democrat then, he, you know, it was totally different than it is now, 60 years later.
Right.
So-
Well, it's of course, I'll vote for a good Democrat as well as I will a Republican.
Right.
Like I supported Doc Briscoe as a Democrat, and I supported him we had a party for him in Houston, and I invited everybody from Telewood Baptist Church and everybody from Exxon, and we had quite a group there, and I know I got him a lot of votes. And I guess that's one of the Martha's favorite stories about me is I was always perfect in all my economics. And one day she got a call from the First State Bank and said, "Your husband has written a $10,000 hot check." And she said, "I can't believe it." And what I'd done, I picked up the wrong checkbook.
Oh.
And but she said when it got here, they took it to Doc Briscoe and he covered it for you.
Wow.
Doc Briscoe was the governor, and he was in school with Martha.
You lucked out there that day.
And I saw him at a party a year or two later, and I thanked him for covering that check. He said, "I'll cover any check you ever write." He said, "I knew your father."
Wow.
But every time we had a party, Martha would bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
About how I'd written a $10,000 hot check.
I remember we'd always give her a hard time for always spilling stuff on her shirts. She couldn't seem to keep it off of her shirts.
Well, one of the funniest things that happened though, if you remember it, Jimmy, when we took y'all to Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and we got these big hot dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and Martha was talking, and this pelican or this bird swooped down and took a Winnie out of her hot dog.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't buy another one.
Well, I think it came down and swooped the sauerkraut off yours, and you told Granny, "You better watch your hot dog, because if the seagull gets it, you're not getting another one." And sure enough, she was talking, and it came down and took it.
So you taught her a lesson.
And that was quite a trip we had.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember that, then the trip we took up to Wyoming? And remember you
to
drove,
Jackson Hole?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you drove back through Los Angeles.
Through California, yeah, because I was worried about y'all driving through.
Were you a teenager or were you grown, man?
I was 16, 17,
Okay.
I think, something like that.
Hmm.
That's probably the nervous I've ever been driving. Oh no. Well, I think it's because Granddad drove the wrong way down a one-way street.
Yeah.
He turned and he turned left on this one-way street. Luckily, nobody was on it. I said, Granddad, you're going the wrong way. No, I'm not. That's the back side of a stop sign or whatever, or stoplight. And so I figured it'd be best for all of our lives if I drove.
Do you think Jimmy should keep the beard?